You want to come and join the class today? This is sometimes how I have to teach my lessons. So I'm good at multitasking anymore. Because this is what Cody does to me.
He every once in a while, when I'm on Zoom in another class, he'll come and get in my lap. Yesterday, I was working at the computer and he came and he insisted that I move enough so he could lie in my lap while I worked.
They do know how to be persistent, don't they?
Yes, they do.
At least he didn't want to lie on your computer keyboard.
Well, I've had to really try to teach them that that's off limits. Because they've done some interesting things for me a couple of times. Well, let's see how he likes the Ting Sha. That didn't disturb him at all.
Not a bit. Not a bit.
Of course, I couldn't hear it at all. So,
Oh, I forgot to hit that.
that's,
Sorry. So, any questions or requests or reports on your practice?
no.
No?
No?
No.
Okay. Great. Guess that means it's going well.
It is. It's you know, it's getting into a little bit better habit, a little bit better pattern.
Oh, good.
You know, I think a lot of just it just feels like things are settling down for me. So I feel like I can actually do a lot more things that I want to for me. And maybe that was just get rid of my worry about, ooh, what if, which I think is half of this practice.
Great. Yeah, not letting one fall into what if is really pretty important.
Yeah.
Because that's just creating anxiety and not really necessary.
And I think I've been one who's tried to deny that I have a lot of anxiety. Guess what?
Well, as Bruce says, that it's the prevalent really illness of our society.
Yeah, I agree.
So,
And I think it's also something that, like me, people are denying that they have it. Like, oh, no,
yeah.
no, that's not me.
oh,
You
yeah.
know, that it's there very strongly, but also, you know, it's like, oh, no, that's everybody else, but not me.
Yeah. We wish it were not us.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. A blind spot.
So, well, let's do a little energy gates and get the energy flowing, and we'll go on. Excuse me, Mo. Stepping out. Please settling into your basic structure, allowing the quad to soften and sink slightly so that you open that pathway between the torso and the legs. And feel that energy moving downward and into the etheric body below your feet, into the earth. And aware of opening upwards, keeping the midriff open, the armpits, and the jade pillow, so that you can connect upwards to the heavens. Then opening to the sinking energy and allowing it to draw the energy your body can no longer use down into the earth. Just let it drop. Coming back to center and being aware of extending your mind through your body so that you can really feel what is happening there. Letting the breath slow and lengthen. And then flowing into cloud hands. into the swings. Thanks for coming to visit. Oop. I'm not sure it's what I need, but I love it.
Oh, see, that's gonna keep that.
Yeah. Oh, no, good. I'm gonna. So,
No. That's probably not a good thing to do. Go on. Not a good thing.
That's one of the drawbacks. So, kind of based on what we talked about last time, I'm gonna go into a number of well, some of it we talked about before, some of it might be new, but back to, I suppose we might say more basics. So I'm going to start with talking a little bit about spirituality and the Taoist concepts related there. So there is an assumption in the Eastern and inner traditions of meditation and Gnostic Christianity and the Kabbalah that human beings are a certain way, that they want to be potentially better. They have the potential to be more spiritual and universal. And in some, just not being like a monkey who wants to grab bananas any way it can. The cruelty of the world is usually not described as being spiritual, whereas sometimes the kindness and benevolence of the world are. And spirituality is looked at in different ways. First, it makes you a better person. And from the point of view of almost all religious traditions, that's not enough. That's not really what spirituality is about. In the modern times, some would say, well, just consult a psychologist and that will probably do it for you. Although someone who gets involved in spirituality or meditation who usually have the idea that a part of it is that they will become a better person. However, they have to go past that. They have to go back to essentially finding inside themselves and within their practice and in the way that they are engaging with the world, how to engage with things that are permanent rather than temporary. Something that is temporary comes and goes. You can be a good person today, and tomorrow you're just a murderous whatever. So it's good to rise up to where you have the more universal things: love, compassion, caring, intelligence, perception, happiness, and joy. But all of that is ultimately on the surface. It is meant to get you to the entrance level, like buying the movie ticket to get you to the theater. When you are in the theater, you want to go beyond your mind. For example, using the God example, You're going to go and actually communicate with God, not obey the decisions by somebody else about what you should do, but to directly get what that whole God principle is about. The Buddhists and Taoists, however, don't believe in God, but since we are in a Christian part of the world, or at least it has been for the past 1900 years, then that's the common metaphor that's in circulation. Now, if you look at meditation, and let's just say you're going from a grosser level to a higher level of how to live as a human being, you are acting more like a human, less like an animal, as Taoists would put it. We all know what animals do. Don't make that tiger angry. It can be a really rough patch. But you also could have a tiger that will behave like a really nice and friendly pussycat that would take care of you and be friendly and play nicely with the children. But that's not the usual tiger. Usually they're going to eat the children, particularly if they haven't eaten for a while. So you're in state A, and you want to get to state B. Now we're going to call B spirituality and A not spirituality. Usually this is not going to happen by accident. Usually you're going to have to go through a lot of what's in you to arrive at this place. If it were all that easy, as the phrase goes, everybody would be a Buddha. But I'll let you in on a secret, there aren't too many of them running around. So is every Christian like Jesus Christ? Well, I don't think that's the case either. So there's an actual big distance between where most human beings are and what they're capable of being. So we're just trying to go from A to B. These are two basic ways that you can go. There are two basic ways you can go from A to B, with all sorts of variations and with all sorts of combinations. A bit of A and a bit of B, and in others, B with A. Each of them touching the edges of each other. Now in Asia, they have the Tao, the way, and they think about that. They say that you don't need to create God. You don't need to create spirituality. It is actually already in you. If you'll just clear away all the negative stuff that surrounds it. If you get rid of that, then whatever is there shows up. One of the Taoist ways of putting it is, if you get rid of the false, all that will remain is the true. Well, this can be described as a creative way of doing it. If we take the example of a statue and all the artists who have created statues throughout history, some of it is done one way and some done another. They all start with a big rock. And if you're going to do the creative way, you know what you do? You essentially sit down with a piece of paper, or in some way, you draw or you plan or say exactly what you are going to chop off. Chop this off and that off and this and that until you come to the shape that you want. And then you have to go and carve away. But the fact of the matter is that you think it through first. You create the idea. It was there before. And then you carve the rock. And that's what many sculptors do. Now, there's a second way that's done, which I guess in the West could be called a Zen way of doing it. But frankly speaking, this is how Michelangelo described what he did. You have a rock, and you just keep looking at the rock, and you walk around it, and you communicate with the rock, and then somehow you link with the rock. You take the chisel, and you let the rock tell you what to get rid of until what is innately inside that comes out. And that's your statue. But you don't do it. You just let it happen. You experience, you listen to what is inside of the rock, and you allow it to come out. And then you have your statue. Now, some of the finest statues of the world have been created by this method. And as well, many others have been created by the creative way. So there are two. Now, in the East, in Taoism, but not in Buddhism or in Hinduism, these two methods have been described as fire and water. The creative way is fire, the way of letting it emerge is called water. You don't have to do anything. In the tradition of Taoism, the old tradition was water. Then around 1000 AD, from a lot of influences, the fire tradition arose. So now, in the water tradition of Taoism, we have this whole thing of not creating, but allowing something to emerge. And that's when you start talking about dissolving. You are arriving at the level of beginning to use intent. The only difference is that the intent of the waterway is just to allow what's not real to release and go away. Whereas the intent of the fire method is at higher and higher levels to decide what you're going to create. We could call this engineering. That's what engineers do. All engineering is based on that basic principle. But the waterway of doing things is to allow what is naturally there to have a way to come out and express itself. So we principally follow the water tradition. So let us sit and meditate for a bit on this. You can just simply dissolve, or if you wish to work on an anxiety problem, that's certainly appropriate. So it can be whatever you would like to focus on. So remembering you want to keep your structure and not allow your body to collapse. And be very aware of allowing the breathing to slow and lengthen. And then, whatever practice you're following, begin at the crown of your head. come to a point where you can, we'll begin to close. that we all benefit, gain from this practice, how to help all the sentient creatures of the universe. Any thoughts or questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Great couple of weeks.
Yes.
Probably
And to you.
Any plans for Rick to come back out here, Rick Barrett,
April.
April?
We haven't set a date yet, but probably we'll do it at least one more time. Wait forever.
No. There are certain things that
Just happen in our lives. Carol, have a great week.
Thank you. And you. Bye-bye, Linda.
See you next week.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Ah.